Hi, and welcome to the next episode of Belly to Belly. And today we're talking about SelectUSA preparation. We're only a couple months away, and we're here with great friend David Rose from US Expansion Partners. Hey, David, how are you?
Ahoy, Bill. Always great to see you.
Same here. So you and I were just chatting before. We're totally excited for SelectUSA, obviously a massive event coming up in May. And our whole goal in this call is to really help companies connect with a great resource and give a little exposure to ways to get as much as possible out of SelectUSA. So as we want to really introduce them to what you do so that any pre-contact that can be made so the companies can move forward as quickly as possible can be made. But do you want to take a second and kind of give an overview of what US Expansion Partners does and how you help companies expanding to the US?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the easiest way to think about what US Expansion Partners does is we help growth companies launch and scale in the US. And so we've mapped out the process. There's over 64 steps, and there's multiple decisions. At each step, so you're talking about hundreds of decisions that we made to fully launch in the US. So our team will actually handle all those sort of things as a managed service, launch the business, and we'll actually run US operations for you, accounting and finance, HR, all those sort of things, either in perpetuity or until you build your own team in the US. So we're basically launch to revenue experts, and we launch and run companies who want to come to the US.
Super. And are there particular industries or type businesses that you specialize in?
Well, it's funny. I would tell you our ICP or ideal customer profile is a venture-backed tech company because that's my background. I've spent a lot of time in that. But it's funny. Most of our clients are in Europe, so I would say our ICP is a venture-backed tech company from the UK or Europe. But I have to admit, we had the exact opposite of that. This past year, we had a publicly traded Korean biotech client. It has to be the exact opposite of our ICP. And what we learned in that process is look, no one on our team is going to help a new drug compound navigate the FDA approval process. That's not our skill set. But what we learned is all those underlying operational details we're really, really good at are pretty ubiquitous. They have to set up a corporation. They have to have accounting and banking and insurance and people and HR and payroll. So even though our ICP is, B2B venture-backed tech companies, really it could probably work for anybody from an operational standpoint.
Right. No, that's awesome. And so you and I have been participating in SelectUSA for several years now. What is it that keeps you coming back? Why is it so important for companies who are expanding to the US?
Well, I think it's a really great resource. I think part of the challenge when companies come to the US is oftentimes they'll get an initial referral. Hey, my accounting firm in Germany knows a partner at an accounting firm in the US, and you kind of get passed over, and then you kind of get passed around. You're not really sure who owns the process, and you're not sure who's filling all the gaps. And so what's nice about SelectUSA, if you're considering coming to the US, is pretty much everyone you would need to utilize from a partner or vendor perspective in the US expansion process is going to be there. It's a chance to actually talk to everyone, kind of complete that cycle of all those pieces and parts you need to put to place to launch there. And not only the people and the partners and vendors that kind of do that, but also kind of take a look at, the US is a really huge market. A lot of our clients initially think they need to go to Silicon Valley because they're in tech, or they think they're going to go to New York City because they've been there and there's some familiarity. But the reality of it is there's a bunch of options in the US you should really consider regardless of what industry you're in. And it's really the only place you can come where all those states and all those regions and all the cities are represented, and you can talk to the people from the region and really firsthand learn more about it. Don't just make the assumption that you're going to go to a certain region in the US. This is the place you come to really understand not only the ecosystem and all the resources available to help, but also better understand what regions and what resources and incentives are available to help you come.
Yeah, no, that's so well said. It is, a 10-ring circus for sure. So many different opportunities to understand.
And there's really great content. So they have really great speakers on content that really matters. Like, how do you form a corporation? How do you raise venture capital? What should I consider? What are the liabilities? What are the risks? And so the content, again, it's really the only place you can probably come and get all this content and all these connections and all these resources available in a really condensed location over a series of days.
Yeah, all in 2.5 days.
Right. A lot.
So with that sort of, this big tent with all these opportunities, and thinking of the companies coming, some will have been to the U.S. before, some actually may already have customers here, but some, this may also be their first trip. How would you suggest companies take the best advantage of that 2.5 day event?
Well, I mean, Bill, you've been a bunch, but the first time you come, you're unprepared. At least I was, I guess 4 years ago when I came to my first event, I was completely unprepared for just how big the event is and just how many people are there. And so I would, my advice is if you're coming to SelectUSA is really do your homework, because there is so much you can do when you're there. But if you want to get the most out of it, being prepared really goes a long way. I mean, you go through and look at the sessions you want to attend, block those out on your calendar. There is an app where you can request meetings with individuals, whether they be represent a state or a service provider or some level of expertise. You will be amazed how many people accept those meetings. And so you can really ahead of time, if you know, hey, I want to meet this certain person, or I want to have questions about this certain area or this geography, you can book all your meetings in advance. And my only advice is make sure you block out the content sessions, because I always end up having competing meetings with the content I really want to see. So if you plan out ahead of time, hey, I know I'm going to go to this, I want to see this speaker on this topic, block your calendar. So that way people don't put in meeting requests for you, or you don't put in meeting requests otherwise. But planning, because there's so much going on and so many great resources and so many great people, if you plan it, you really get the most out of the experience.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. And I'm actually seeing now, the first few years I went, pretty much all of the activity was constrained to sort of Monday to Wednesday. And now I'm seeing, for example, last year, Sunday was fully booked for me, and actually some appointments even on Saturday before the event even started, just because people are in town. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right. But that only happens if you're...
I think that's a great point, because a lot of people, when I think about events, I think, oh, I'm going to fly in on Sunday and then I'll, kind of hit the ground running on Monday. I'm actually doing a session on Sunday. We're doing a session, a boot camp on, raising venture capital. And so, make sure you look at the full agenda and don't just assume it starts on Monday. There's a lot going on Sunday. There's a lot of great content, a lot of people already hitting the ground running. So again, you might want to come in on Saturday and just be prepared on Sunday to hit the ground running. That's great.
No, it's amazing how preparation really changes what you get, and certainly makes you probably think through what your goals are in a way that causes much more out of it, and then obviously helps you get as much as possible through the process. Well, this has been great, David. And as you think about 2025, what's getting you really excited about U.S. market expansion?
Well, I mean, I think there's a general bullishness about growth in the U.S. coming into 2025, and I think that there is people want to come and take advantage of that market growth in the U.S. and that large market potential. And so there's a lot of interest about wanting to come and expand to the U.S. and try and drive market growth for an individual company and get a piece of that pie and that high growth. Hopefully, we're going to see going into this year.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time today. And it's okay if we share your contact information below, so if folks have interest, they can reach out.
Please, and always great to see you, Bill. And I look forward to seeing you in person again in May.